Good morning, Metaverse. I'm Thor with the Red Hand, and today I'm going to talk a little bit more about books and stories related to Star Atlas, but more specifically, how they relate to each other. And so, in doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about core. I'm going to talk about the stories and the lore building up with some of the guilds like Coexist and Rome. I encourage other guilds that have lore that they're writing and creating the storyline. Send me a message. I'd love to read your stories and see how the community itself can really build the lore behind Star Atlas. Because once we start playing the game, that's exactly what we'll be doing with our actions in the game, building the story going into the future. And then lastly, or I should say, the first thing I'm going to cover is actually a project that a member of the Red Hand and the Mafia Esports organization has actually put together a book on the or that covers and is focused on blockchain gaming in the metaverse as it is now, where we've come from with gaming up to this point. And it features in a small portion Star Atlas, and I think brings a element of storytelling and community immersion to it that Star Atlas and Core and any of the guilds could really benefit from using this for encouraging community activity. So let's dive right into the Ready Player Earn. So, what is Ready Player Earn about? It is about the blockchain gaming. It's about where gaming has started from in human history and how we've progressed and gotten to the point where we are today. Gaming looks very much different than it used to, but the core concepts are still hold true and actually has developed, I think, a whole lot more and in some really interesting ways, specifically around the stories and the background, the ability for us to jump into new and exciting stories that are different than our daily lives. And that is a cool part of the blockchain gaming of the metaverse, and where Star Atlas really comes in and takes a front and center role in the development going into the future. Now, Ready Player Earn. This is not just some kind of commercial for Ready Player Earn, but um, I think it's a project that I would like people to take a look at because of the ideas that it brings out. One, it has in the preface a few of the different blockchain games that are out there illustrated in reference to how you immerse yourself into it. So you start out, I am a farmer, and it's talking about Townstar. Then it talks about how I'm an alchemist, and that goes into Mirandus and the story that has been created for the character that is playing that. And then it goes into how I am an astronaut, and I am an astronaut in Star Atlas, and then the storyline and the background of the character that I become as I go into the Star Atlas metaverse. And so that was the little contribution that I offered to it. And I think it does a really good job of showing what the blockchain gaming in general, the metaverse, and real immersion into the stories can provide for people in the value, not just the value of monetary value that is actual real ownership, which is a cool part of blockchain, but also the storylines and how in depth we can really get into it and make it worth our time to do so, and really create a lot of creative innovations through those stories. So that's sort of the heart of where this book is coming from, or how it speaks to me personally. And then another really cool part is with actually the questing. And I'll get back to the questing, but first I wanted to talk about the stories in Star Atlas. So we have Core, the graphic novel. it being written and illustrated by a team led by Tim McBurney, and he's going to be putting together this story, this lore for Star Atlas in comic book form, and releasing episodes on a monthly basis, and uh, really giving the community something to sink their teeth into, to keep interested and have the development of Star Atlas more interesting and immersive for our experience. And that's great, and that's being run by Automata, and the development team, the core, no pun intended, core development team of Star Atlas is really behind this storyline, right? The Star Atlas writers. But what about the community? Because there's a lot of activity going on in the community, and so the guild, the group that has done, I would say, the most with community involvement in Star Atlas, or at least led the way in many respects, is Coexist. And Coexist has put together um, a magazine articles in the Oni Times, and that is updating news in Star Atlas, and featuring different guilds that are make up the community of Star Atlas. But they've also created their whole story of where Coexist comes from. What is their lore? And so that's a big kudos out to Coexist, and that group's ability to really put the time and effort into it and create something special. So you get to read that story as it's released in the Oni Times. Again, a great project. And so that is the story development from their perspective that they share with everybody else. That story that everybody has in their head, and being able to share it like that is really cool. Also, another guild that I know has put the time into creating a full lore and backstory is Rome. I follow Rome and watch the Metaverse Nomads, and they really do a great job of the organization, organizing their group, and bringing the passion into the story and the details of where Rome comes from, and how they've found themselves a part of the Oni consortium, and really making the realities make sense and come together and come alive. And then, so how do those different storylines, those three different storylines, and frankly, if any other guilds have the stories and the lore that they're writing or have completed writing, I'd love to read them. That is stuff that I really like diving into, and to make that available to the community, I think is real important for everybody in the community to get to know each other and understand what community they're a part of. So drop me links and DMs in Discord or Twitter. Um, I'd love to hear more of it and give it some FaceTime for that. But how do these work together? And this kind of brings it back to Ready Player Earn and some of the features that it has that I think is really cool for storytelling and community, and that is the questing, bringing questing back. And I'm a big fan of it. I'm a nerd. I love it. To go on a quest and to start an adventure is just, that's how I like to live my life. And what Dr. 2084 has put together is actually an entire quest that starts with the book, and I believe the first step is to reach out to him and Ready Player Earn, or at Ready Player Earn on Twitter, for the first message and the first start from this lore master, and you travel through the metaverse on a journey to find the Easter egg, right? You get to be the Gunthers, and really take that trip down the road of going on a metaverse adventure, on a quest, and accomplishing something. bringing the story into more into the real world, blending the two in different ways that the concept has been there for as long as people have been around and as long as stories have been told. Um, but this is a very interactive way to do it. And I think it would be a whole lot of fun for the Star Atlas community to be involved in that type of activities. And the questing concept, I think, is something that would be great to see happen in core and to give us the ability to go out and do things. When Davy B put out the videos, getting stranded on the planet because those freaking poonabs took off with the ship, and then I created a video. Other community members made little mini videos, and we had that competition. That was a lot of fun to do. I really enjoyed it. The last video, the updated video from him, and going into the Star Atlas showroom. I'll leave a link for some of those videos, or at least the his Twitter feed where you can watch some of that stuff. That interactive aspect of the community is really a great thing for the growth of the project and the overall growth of the community. I'd love to see more of that in the type of releases that they have. Things to look forward to the next 4 to 6. Um, that's always something that I think is of benefit to incorporate. So just a suggestion, put a little note in the suggestion box. Uh, take a lesson from the Ready Player Earn concept and bring quests into what you're doing, and make that story a little bit more interesting. Um, connect it with the guilds, the community that is bringing and creating that storyline. Really leverage the creativity of the Star Atlas community, and the metaverse community as a whole. um, I, I'm going to stop ranting on that, but I just really want to see more of that. I know I'm working on the lore for the Red Hand, and want to put that out and share that story so people understand a little bit more about where the Red Hand comes from, and where we can build that story off of in the game. So hopefully this was enjoyable, a good episode for you, and don't worry about liking or subscribing, but share it with somebody that you think it would also find this interesting, that also loves the story, the lore, the storytelling, the immersion into the Star Atlas universe. And if you can do that, then today was a good day. Good morning, Metaverse.